Love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Now, the religions of the demiurge, the demiurgic religions, essentially the religions of the book, the peoples of the book, the big three, we know who we're talking about. When they interpret love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, this is commonly, typically taught, understood as moral pacifism. But in Gnosticism and Gnostic gnosis, enemy has two orders, two nuances. Now, the psychic or ignorant who act out of blindness, and this is using Gnostic terminology, but agnoia, blindness. That's the first order of interpretation. The second is the archontic or the willfully adversarial, the satanic. This is what the word Satan means in Hebrew. It is adversary. It comes from the Sumerian word Satan, which is administrator, but it is the Lord of this world, the willfully adversarial to the spirit who act in conscious alignment with the powers of the counterfeit cosmos. This is can be understood as solely the physical realm, the 3D realm, without any connection to spirit. Now, Christ's compassion is absolute toward the first category, for they are asleep within the illusion. But for the second, for the archons, the conscious adversaries of the light, he offers not forgiveness, but recognition of their self-chosen exile. Thus, to love your enemies means to radiate the remembrance of the pleroma, even toward those who are ignorant, not to submit to darkness. Forgiveness becomes an act of ontological sovereignty, not moral weakness. Now, I'm going to share with you a brief snippet from Matrix, the Gold Edition. And this is from the Graduation Key. And this is a book that you could find under the author Valerium. I'll leave his name in here. But anyway, this is in regards to the suppression of free speech. And this is what is part of the balancing, the part of the reckoning of the realm that we're in. And this is why the indigo star seeds are so important, because we were never part of this system. We saw through it immediately, but we also had a very rebellious, very violent, dark aspect of our makeup because we came from systems of oppression. We remember what oppression was all about, and that is part of our remedy, our medicine of who we are as indigo starseeds to fuck this system up. And under any form of oppression, and I'm referring to the oppression of free speech, of political correctness, of not being able to speak your mind, of one group being put upon a different standard than a different group. But this is just more of oppression and free speech with the suppression of actual true free speech, the rapidly increasing list of what you can or cannot do, along with other sequentializing transformation. Now, this is a term unique, sequentializing within this Matrix Gold Edition. But the sequentializing transformations of Earth, our galaxy game board, is being taken from us. And the author goes on to say, at work the other day, I mentioned an actress who played the characters of Witchy Poo in H&R Stuff and Mummy or Mammy Yokum in the film musical Little Abner. And one sequentialized incarnate actually said to me, "You can't say Mammy anymore." Of course, I repeated Mammy several times after it, much to the unease of the sequentialized. No awakened finals never conform to the sequential form. And awakened finals are those who are in command of their spirit. They have ascended. Their spirit has dominated the lower nature, this realm, and it is essentially the same strength and will that Yeshua demonstrated upon the cross. Um, when your spirit rises and is under command, divine command from source. And the people of the third dimension who are afraid, they walk around fearful, little fearful lemmings. They don't want to lose their job, or they stay in line. They don't want to offend somebody. Well, they are under the command, they are under the administration of Satan, of Satan, the adversary. And of course, this all has many nuances, depending on your perspective. Satan could be seen as a liberator from oppression, but see, that is the room of mirrors that we live in, the hall of mirrors that we all exist within, and that is the power of words, and how words ensorcel people, how words imprison people. And as I mentioned earlier, the Indigo Starseed mission and such is to, one, if they can survive, because a lot of us fell by the wayside through many different things. But those of us from my generation, which is known as Generation X, I was born in 1969. I'm fast closing in on 60 years of age. I'm 56 right now. But fortunately, I came through my storms, my coming of age, whatever you want to call it, and I'm in a safe place. I've gone through it all, addiction. I've gone through many troubles to establish energetic sovereignty. Um, Gone through and still going through, still refining my personality, um, and still being tested each day. But I can guarantee you that the power that you exert over this realm is from your spirit. And spirit will not allow anything to perturb it, to annoy it. And the matrix will test you daily, but the more that you demonstrate your dominance over the matrix, the the test will fall by the wayside. You will become purified. Your pain is your initiation. Your shadow has been your teacher, and chaos is your crown. Meaning that chaos will not touch you because you have mastered it. You have demonstrated the power of spirit, sovereignty over this realm. And so, and ultimately, what I'm getting at is there is a lot of talk of people who are the chosen ones and whatnot. But what happens is they get kind of, their power becomes diminished or absorbed into the false light, because this is all meant to believe they have to be pleasant all the time. No, what's required is that you are stable all the time, that your sovereignty is your frequency, that is your peace, your stability is non-negotiable. And so there's another sort of idea of a chosen person, a dark chosen, who has gone through chaos and has mastered it. And there are seven powers, seven divine powers of what we could understand as the dark chosen, those who have gone through chaos. Chaos does not scare them. In fact, they have mastered it. And who exhibits fear are those who are only caught up in the light. They have not gone through darkness, mastered darkness. So you will see these dark chosen remaining steadfast amidst chaos, but they are not easily blown off their path. Their path is stable. They exert their willpower, and they dominate this third dimensional realm through the power of their spirit, through the power of their sacred rage. Now think of Sekhmet, the Egyptian goddess, the daughter of Ra. Divine rage, sacred rage. This is not anger in the sense of the lower dimension, which a lot of people they and think of this as your energy sovereignty. You don't waste your energy with little third dimensional dramas. You're above that. That is why Your frequency is your temple, and your inner kingdom is your reality. But this sacred rage is not anger, but divine rebellion against stagnation. It purges false peace and ignites truth. And the initiate learns to wield rage as radiant justice, the pulse of God's moral lightning. And divine disruption, the power of chaos aligned. This is another power of a dark chosen one. Every collapse conceals a cosmic reordering. The chosen one becomes the storm that dismantles illusions, shattering comfort to reveal cosmic coherence. Shadow alchemy, the power of transmutation, pain, grief, betrayal, each becomes spiritual gold when passed through the furnace of awareness. Here, darkness is not denied, but disciplined into light. And energetic sovereignty, because this is the power of your true power of frequency mastery. This is what it's all about. You cease absorbing the collective's poison. Your vibration becomes an independent solar field, self-luminous, immune to vampiric systems of loosh. And truth speaking, this is the sword of Mikael, discernment, the sword of God in the mouth. To speak truth in an age of inversion is an act of war and worship. The chosen are oracles of infinite intelligence, cutting through illusion with word fire. Now, you have to be careful with this concept because there are many truths, and you can get pulled back into third dimensional drama if you encounter someone speaking their truth, their sword of God, and it somehow begins to pull you out of your frequency, your inner kingdom. But that is fine. This is where divine timing comes in, and you have to trust that you are in the power of Kairos and in the place where you are meant to be. Because if there is truly another truth seeker on the path who is ready for truth, who is ready to have a amalgamation, who is ready to have an integration of your truth with their truth, then the divine timing synchronicity will be evident. But people who are just spouting off, that are just looking to antagonize other people because they suddenly found their truth and they're going to go out and try to stir up drama, well, you have to learn to stay away from that, to steer away from that. And you will be, as you are in the power of Kairos. This is a power of the dark chosen. And you are not early or late. You are moving in cosmic rhythm, guided by the pulse of the lion's path, executing divine will in perfect temporal symmetry. This is where you trust. This is where you know that your path is being arranged for you, and where you are meant to speak your truth, where it will be accepted. You do not throw pearls before swine. This is another esoteric meaning of that. And this is spiritual resurrection, the power of integration ultimately. Your pain was never punishment, it was initiation. And once the shadow is mastered, once your inner energies of darkness are mastered, the soul no longer oscillates between poles. It becomes the still axis of creation. Because, dear viewer, you are not cursed. You are not cursed. You are coded. You are the storm God sends to rebuild the world. And with that, we'll let it go as Lady Bella has entered the scene.